All right, hello everybody. Just giving some time for people to come in. Hello, Metika. Let's see here. All right. On the Facebook. Okay. Everything's good. Audio, visuals. No problems with the stream. Hello, Diego. Hola. Sindhu. Oh, hello, John. Okay. Hello, Vidura. Welcome. Robert, Karen. We'll give it a few minutes and then we'll get started. Hello, Kala. Hello, Yankee. Welcome. Welcome to whoever's on Twitch. I hope everybody's doing well in whatever far-flung corner of the earth you're in. Hello, Karen. Welcome. Karen joined us probably very briefly on Facebook. An old friend. Gym trainer. She was very good for me back in the day. All right. Let's get started, shall we? We'll get started with our chanting. Share screen. Okay. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Akusalang bhikkhave pajahata sakha bhikkhave akusalang pajahitung no chetang bhikkhave sakka abhavissa akusalang pajahitung nahang evang vadeyang akusalang bhikkhave apajahatati yasmachako bhikkhave sakka akusalang pajahitung tasmahang evam vadami akusalang bhikkhave pajahatati akusalang chahidang bhikkhave pahinang pa ahitaya dukkhaya samvatteya nahang evang vadeyang akusalang bhikkhave pajahatati yasmachako bhikkhave akusalang pahinang hittaya sukhaya samvattati tasmahang evang vadami akusalang bhikkhave pajahatati kusalang bhikkhave bhaveta sakha bhikkhave kusalang bhavetum no chetang bhikkhave sakha abhavissa kusalang bhavetum nahang evang vadeyam kusalang bhikkhave bhavetati yasmachako bhikkhave sakha kusalang bhavetum tasmahang evang vadami kusalang bhikkhave bhavetati kusalang chahidang bhikkhave bhavitang ahitaya dukkhaya samvatteya nahang evang vadeyang kusalang bhikkhave bhavetati yasmachako bhikkhave kusalang bhavitang hittaya sukhaya samvattati tasmahang evang vadami kusalang bhikkhave bhavetati. All right, English. Abandoning unskillfulness. Bhikkhus, give up unskillfulness. It is possible to give up unskillfulness. If it were not possible to give up unskillfulness, I would not say, bhikkhus, give up unskillfulness. Since it is possible to give up unskillfulness, I say, bhikkhus, give up unskillfulness. If giving up unskillfulness caused detriment and suffering, I would not say, bhikkhus, give up unskillfulness. Since abandoning unskillfulness brings benefit and happiness, I say, bhikkhus, give up unskillfulness. Bhikkhus, cultivate skillfulness. It is possible to cultivate skillfulness. If it were not possible to cultivate skillfulness, I would not say, bhikkhus, cultivate skillfulness. Since it is possible to cultivate skillfulness, I say, bhikkhus, cultivate skillfulness. If cultivating skillfulness caused detriment and suffering, I would not say, bhikkhus, cultivate skillfulness. Since the cultivation of skillfulness brings benefit and happiness, I say, bhikkhus, cultivate skillfulness. Sadhu. All right. Welcome, Christine, and welcome, friends, to another Monday night. That means it is Dhammapalooza, our 2-hour festival of Dhamma for the Maggasekha community, as we come together on YouTube to do a variety of Dhamma-related activities, from chanting to meditation and everything in between. What will today's Dhammapalooza be like? I don't know, because as always, it is a community-driven event, meaning that I come with, backup. I can talk about basically any Buddhist topic, and I come with a sutta backup here or there. But really, I want you guys as a community to figure out what you'd like this Dhammapalooza to be. We could read suttas. We could answer questions. We can discuss all kinds of different possibilities. So we'll give it a few minutes in the chat to see. I see we already have a question. But if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. If you have any Buddhist topics you'd like me to discuss, you can put it in the chat. Or if you'd like to have a group discussion on a topic, we can do that as well. That being said, those of you who are in the chat, you can feel free to talk to each other, say hello to each other, get to know each other, talk Dhamma to each other. You're not interrupting me. You're not disrespecting me. No problem. This is a community event. So we'll give it a little bit of time. And let's see if we can finally get to reading the Great 40 this week. I mean, I know I could just say, hey, we're just going to read the Great 40. But if people have questions, I do want to have time for that. Because this is really, right now at least, while I'm at Empty Cloud, this is the only public event that I do on the YouTube channel every week. So let me see. Jay Kala has a question. I don't know if Rodney is still watching on Facebook, but hello, Rodney. Do you have any advice for practicing the Brahma Viharas with mindfulness of the body simultaneously? Do you think it's best to divide them up, or is there a good way to roll them together? Well, you could practice the Brahma Viharas on your own mind and body, and then you can extrapolate that to the external, right? To the bodies of others. You know, may my body be healthy, not too much suffering. Likewise for others. I don't think that I've ever done them together at the exact same time. Except for if I'm experiencing some kind of, pain or suffering. And as I'm observing it, one of the things that I do is bring up metta and compassion for myself, metta and karuna. I don't, as in terms of, do you think it's best to divide them up? Test, try it out, see what works. See what works for you. What works for me might not work for you. Right? That's part of our practice, is that we have to be willing to do trial and error and to test and to investigate and to see what works. Because we all have different proclivities, different tendencies, and only we can know what really works for us. So separate or together, either way should be probably fine. Whatever works for you. Either nobody else has an actual question, or there's something wrong with the internet, or this might be the time to actually read a sutta. One or the other, we'll see. The chat is quite quiet today. All right, let's read. Is this like in the suttas where the Buddha or somebody consents in silence? You've all consented to read the suttas. All right, very good. You consented with your silence. The Great 40. So I have heard. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. There, the Buddha addressed the mendicants. Mendicants, venerable sir, they replied. The Buddha said this: Mendicants, I will teach you noble right immersion with its vital conditions, and its prerequisites. So the Buddha is saying here, you can see in the Pali, I wonder, can you see when I highlight? Yeah, you can. Samma Samadhi. So the Buddha is saying, I will teach you about the 8th factor of the Noble Eightfold Path. Listen and pay close attention. I will speak. Yes, sir, they replied. The Buddha said this. And what is noble right immersion with its vital conditions and prerequisites? There are right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, and right mindfulness. Unification of mind with these 7 factors as prerequisites is called noble right immersion with its vital conditions, also with its prerequisites. This is a very important point. Like the Buddha says in multiple places, that you don't just decide, I'm going to start meditating, and then you just go sit down and you get into deep jhanas. No, this is not how this works. Deep samadhi, true samma samadhi, right samadhi, arises in condition of all and support of all the other factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. You need to practice your sila. You need to practice your right effort, right mindfulness, right view, right thought. All of these act as the base, the foundation for Samma Samadhi. In this context, right view comes first. And how does right view come first? When you understand wrong view as wrong view and right view as right view, then that's your right view. So simply having at least a little bit of right view to understand what is wrong view, that's a pretty good start. We know the Buddha says that right view, the stock definition for it is understanding the Four Noble Truths, which only an arahant can do in full. Right? So our right view is always developing, getting stronger, getting better as we follow the path. And what is wrong view? So maybe your right view is not fully perfected, but you can at least start to understand what wrong view is. And then you can understand right view. What is wrong view? There is no meaning in giving, sacrifice, or offerings. There's no fruit or result of good and bad deeds. There's no afterlife. There are no duties to mother and father. No beings are reborn spontaneously. And there's no ascetic or Brahmin who is well attained and practiced, and who describes the afterlife after realizing it with their own insight. This is wrong view. So also, for those of you in the chat who are watching, if you have a question while I'm going through this, definitely feel free to type it up. And I'll do my best to respond to the question. And what is right view? Right view is twofold, I say. There is right view that is accompanied by defilements, has attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment. There is right view that is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path. There's again pointing to there's the right view that is still accompanied by defilements, meaning that the person's not awakened yet. And what is right view that is accompanied by defilements, has the attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment? There is meaning in giving, sacrifice, and offerings. There are fruits and results of good and bad deeds. There is an afterlife. There are duties to mother and father. There are beings reborn spontaneously. So beings reborn spontaneously would be beings such as devas, nagas, yakas, right? Beings that are born in the heavenly realm or are of subtle form. Like they're not born through a womb. They're not born through eggs or moisture or the various ways that the Buddha explains that various beings are born. And there are ascetics and Brahmins who are well attained in practice and who describe the afterlife after realizing it with their own insight. This is right view that is accompanied by defilements, has the attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment. What is right view? That is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path. It's the wisdom, the faculty of wisdom, the power of wisdom, the awakening factor of investigation of principles. That's the second factor of awakening. And right view as a factor of the path. In one of noble mind and undefiled mind, who possesses the noble path and develops the noble path. This is called right view that is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path. They make an effort to give up wrong view and embrace right view. That's their right effort. Mindfully, they give up wrong view and take up right view. That's their right mindfulness. So these three things keep running and circling around right view, namely right view, right effort, and right mindfulness. In this context, right view comes first. And how does right view come first? When you understand wrong thought, so now we're talking about the second factor of awakening, the second noble truth. Boy, I'm wacky today. The second factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, Samma Sankappo. As opposed to Micca Sankappo. No Micca Sankappo. Samma Sankappo. Micca means bad or wrong. When you understand wrong thought is wrong thought and right thought is right thought, that's your right view. And what is wrong thought? Thoughts of sensuality, of grasping, greediness, thoughts of malice, hatred, resentment, and thoughts of cruelty. This is wrong thought. And what is right thought? Right thought is twofold, I say. There is right thought that is accompanied by defilements, has the attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment. We see this just like from right view. And there is right thought that is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path. And what is right thought that is accompanied by defilements? Has attributes of good deeds and ripens in attachment. Thoughts of renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Renunciation here, nekama, not meaning becoming a monk. This doesn't mean thoughts of becoming a monk, right? Part of it is there, but what it says, the renunciation of worldly things, letting go, right? Practicing letting go, going against your attachments. This is right thought that is accompanied by defilements. And what is right thought? That is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path. It's the thinking, the placing of the mind, thought, applying, application, implanting of the mind, verbal processes in one of noble mind and undefiled mind, who possesses the noble path and develops the noble path. This is right thought that is noble. You see here, this is an active thing. Thinking, placing of the mind, thought, applying, application, implanting of the mind, verbal processes. So this is like our right effort, right? And here he goes. They make up an effort to give up wrong thought and embrace right thought. That's right thought, or right effort. Mindfully, they give up wrong thought and take up right thought. That's their right mindfulness. So these three things keep running and circling around right thought, namely right view, right effort, and right mindfulness. In this context, right view comes first. And how does right view come first? When you understand wrong speech is wrong speech, and right speech is right speech, that's your right view. And what is wrong speech? Speech that is false, musavada, divisive, pisunaya, harsh, parusaya, and nonsensical, sampapalapa. This is wrong speech. And what is right speech? Right speech is twofold, I say. There is right speech that is accompanied by defilements, has the attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment. And there is right speech that is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path. And what is right speech that is accompanied by defilements, has attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment? They refrain from lying, divisive speech, harsh speech, and talking nonsense. This is right speech that is accompanied by defilements. And what is right speech that is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path? It's the desisting, abstaining, abstinence, and refraining from the four kinds of bad verbal conduct, which is what we just went over. In one of noble mind and undefiled mind, who possesses the noble path and develops the noble path. This is right speech that is noble. They make an effort to give up wrong speech and embrace right speech. That's their right effort. Mindfully, they give up wrong speech and take up right speech. That's their right mindfulness. So these three things keep running and circling around right speech, namely right view, right effort, and right mindfulness. Hello, Steve, Vidora, and Malika. Welcome. We're reading through the sutta here, the Great 40. In this context, right view comes first. And how does right view come first? When you understand wrong action is wrong action and right action is right action. That's your right view. And what is wrong action? Killing living creatures, stealing, and sexual misconduct. This is wrong action. And what is right action? Right action is twofold, I say. There is right action that is accompanied by defilements, has the attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment. There is right action that is noble, undefiled, transcendent, and a factor of the path. What is the right action that is accompanied by defilements, has attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment? Refraining from killing living creatures, stealing, and sexual misconduct. That is right action that is accompanied by defilements. And what is right action that is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path? It is the desisting, abstaining, abstinence, and refraining from the three kinds of bad bodily conduct, same as we just went over, in one of the noble mind and undefiled mind, who possesses the noble path and develops the noble path. This is right action that is noble. They make an effort to give up wrong action and embrace right action. That's their right effort. Mindfully, they give up wrong action and take up right action. That's their right mindfulness. So these three things keep running around and circling around right action, namely right view, right effort, and right mindfulness. In this context, right view comes first. And how does right view come first? When you understand wrong livelihood is wrong livelihood, and right livelihood is right livelihood, then that's your right view. And what is wrong livelihood? This is another place, one of the few places where the Buddha gives a little bit more in talking about wrong livelihood. What is wrong livelihood? Deceit, flattery, hinting, and belittling, and using material possessions to chase after other material possessions. Now, this is something that you see more when the Buddha is talking about wrong livelihood for monastics, but that's not specified here. It's interesting. And what is right livelihood? Right livelihood is twofold, I say. There is right livelihood that is accompanied by defilements, has attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment. And there is right livelihood that is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path. And what is right livelihood that is accompanied by defilements, has the attributes of good deeds, and ripens in attachment? It's when a noble disciple gives up wrong livelihood and earns a living by right livelihood. This is right livelihood that is accompanied by defilements. What is right livelihood that is noble, undefiled, transcendent, a factor of the path? It is desisting, abstaining, abstinence, and refraining from wrong livelihood in one of noble mind and undefiled mind, who possesses the noble path and develops the noble path. This is right livelihood that is noble. They make an effort to give up wrong livelihood and embrace right livelihood. That's their right effort. Mindfully, they give up wrong livelihood and they take up right livelihood. That's their right mindfulness. So these three things keep running and circling around right livelihood, namely right view, right effort, and right mindfulness. In this context, right view comes first. And how does right view come first? Right view gives rise to right thought. Right thought gives rise to right speech. Right speech gives rise to right action. Right action gives rise to right livelihood. Right livelihood gives rise to right effort. Right effort gives rise to right mindfulness. Right mindfulness gives rise to right immersion. Right immersion gives rise to right knowledge. Right knowledge gives rise to right freedom. Ah, what just happened here? The Noble Eightfold Path turned into the Noble Tenfold Path. Right knowledge and right liberation are the last two. This is the when you become awakened, the Noble Eightfold Path turns into the Noble Tenfold Path as your journey completes. Then you understand right knowledge and right liberation. So the trainee has 8 factors, while the perfected one has 10 factors. And here too, the eradication of many bad, unskillful qualities is fully developed to right knowledge. In this context, right view comes first. How does right view come first? For one of right view, wrong view is worn away. And the many bad, unskillful qualities that arise because of wrong view are worn away. And because of right view, many skillful qualities are fully developed. Again, here, the Buddha's not talking about like a quick one-off thing, right? Things are worn away. Things are developed. We're talking about gradual practices here. For one of right thought, wrong thought is worn away. For one of right speech, wrong speech is worn away. For one of right action, wrong action is worn away. For one is right livelihood, wrong livelihood is worn away. For one of right effort, wrong effort is worn away. For one of right mindfulness, wrong mindfulness is worn away. For one of right immersion, wrong immersion is worn away. For one of right knowledge, wrong knowledge is worn away. For one of right freedom, wrong freedom is worn away. And the many bad, unskillful qualities that arise because of wrong freedom are worn away. And because of right freedom, many skillful qualities are fully developed. So there are 20 on the side of the skillful and 20 on the side of the unskillful. This exposition of the teaching of the Great 40 has been rolled forth. And it cannot be rolled back by any ascetic or Brahmin, or God or Mara or Brahma, or by anyone in the world. If any ascetic or Brahmin imagines they can criticize and reject the exposition of the teaching of the Great 40, they deserve rebuke and criticism on 10 legitimate grounds in this present life. Such a gentleman criticizes right view. They praise and honor the ascetics and Brahmins who have wrong view. They criticize right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right immersion, right knowledge, right freedom. They praise and honor the ascetics and Brahmins who have wrong freedom. If any ascetic or Brahmin imagines they can criticize or reject the exposition of the teaching of the Great 40, they deserve rebuke and criticism on these 10 legitimate grounds in the present life. Even those wanderers in the past, Vasa and Bhanya of Ukala, who taught the doctrines of no cause, inaction, and nihilism, didn't imagine that the Great 40 should be criticized or rejected. Why is that? For fear of blame, attack, and condemnation. This is what the Buddha said, satisfied the mendicants were happy with what the Buddha said. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Great 40 is a very, very important, very famous sutta. We've gone through it. So now that we've gone through the sutta, we can have a period of time. Any questions, comments, clarifications? Hello, Julie. Welcome. All right. It is a quiet night tonight. So why don't we do our guided meditation? We'll see what happens after the end of guided meditation. Maybe we'll read some Dhammapada verses and end early for the night, which I wouldn't be against because I am kind of tired. Been feeling a bit fatigued these days. So why don't we do our guided meditation now? 8:40 to 9:10. So set your body up in whatever stable and comfortable position works for you. We'll spend some time scanning through the body. Bring your awareness to your feet. By bringing awareness means to focus on any feeling or sensation that arises in the feet, such as the feeling of the feet pressing against the floor, the cushion. Remember, as you're going up the body, you're checking two things. You're checking as you're scanning through, observing if there's any small imbalances or pains, small feelings of discomfort that might be minor now, but will cause major imbalances and pains as we move on with our practice, as we sit for longer periods. So as you're scanning through the body, when you notice these things, take the time to adjust your posture as needed. It's better to move around and wiggle now than to do so while you're in the middle of your meditation. You want to ideally try to have as little movement as possible during your meditation as you're following the breath. Bring your awareness up through your ankles into your calves. Through the knees and into the thighs. Up through to the hips and pelvis. Pay special attention how the hips and pelvis impact your posture. Especially the spine. When you're ready, move up the spine through the abdomen and the chest. Ideally, the spine should be in its neutral position, not engaged, leaning and slouching here and there. That will be a leading cause of back pain as you sit over time. The more relaxed and disengaged the spine is, the more comfortably you'll be able to sit. Move to the shoulders. Check to make sure they're hanging loosely, not scrunched up and tight. And then down through to the elbows and hands. Observe how their position also impacts your posture. Then finally, the head. Check to make sure that the head is not leaning and slouching as well. Chin parallel to the floor. And once you're done setting up your body in a comfortable and stable position, let the body go and take 3 deep breaths. And then let the breath go. From here on in, try not to manipulate or control the breath in any way. Remember that this body has been breathing from the moment you were born and will continue to do so until the second you die. It doesn't need you to do its job. Your job is to simply observe, investigate, and abide with the breath as the body breathes in and the body breathes out. As you seek to follow your breath, your mind will become bored and will run away to the past or the future, across the world, or an external distraction like a sound will arise and your mind will chase after it. Whenever this happens, you'll be taken away, your mindfulness will be gone. But slowly, slowly over time, it will start to dawn on you that you've been taken away from the breath. When that happens, fully acknowledge you've been taken away from the breath. Try to come back, bring back all your mindfulness, all your focus. Then practice letting go of the breath, of the distraction, by neither getting agitated and pushing it away, nor by getting excited and attached to it. Simply try to give it no energy, no attention and focus, to let it go, let it be, and then return to the breath. Acknowledge, let go, and return every time you're distracted away. Acknowledge, let go, and return over and over. Every once in a while, check in with the state of your mind. Is your mind becoming more tranquil and peaceful or not? As it becomes more tranquil and peaceful, you may begin to recognize more subtle, deep characteristics of the breath. Sometimes the breath is long and deep, sometimes short and shallow. Do your best to try to observe the breath more deeply. Observe how it's changing and flowing. Slowly open your eyes, start to come out of the meditation, becoming aware and present in the room around you, the live stream. Compare the mind before sitting for the meditation to the mind after. And reflect on any experiences that might have occurred during the meditation. Hello to anybody who joined us during the meditation. It's been a slow one today, a quiet one, which is good because I think what we'll do here is we'll read some Dhammapada and then we'll call it a night. All right. So let me share screen. Hello, Matthias. Welcome. Steve has a question. We can answer. Finding my practice has dwindled somewhat of late, and I am feeling great shame and guilt overwhelm me. I know these feelings are unskillful, but how best to turn this around? During these times, it's important to reflect on the impermanence of the practice, the impermanence of the path. Right? That your path is not a straight line. It's a wavy line. Right? There's lots of ups and downs. And when you're in one of those downturns, you just try to figure out what kind of or what amount of practice you can do in that downturn. Maybe you're in a downturn because of aversive mind states. Maybe you're in a downturn because of you're more busy in life. Something's happened that you're more busy. There could be a variety of reasons why you're in a downturn. The most important thing is to keep practicing as much as possible. Even if you have a strong aversion to sitting meditation, well, maybe you can try to practice metta meditation to yourself. Maybe you can practice more walking meditation. Maybe you can practice satipatthana. Try to really focus in on make that a part of all your activities. The important thing is to kind of understand. Part of the practice is seeing if you can find an origin for why you're in this downturn. When you're able to do that, then you're kind of able to be armed with knowledge that you can then use to try to steer the ship to an upturn. Sometimes you have control over that, sometimes you don't. Or at least it appears you don't have control over it. But in the down times, focus lots of metta for yourself, lots of compassion, understanding that the practice is always going to be ups and downs. And if you have great shame and guilt, that is a good thing because that can help you stay on the path. However, like many aspects of the path, taken too far, it just causes more suffering. Right? So when you take it too far, observe that and reflect on your suffering. Why am I feeling a great amount of shame and guilt? Do I have expectations that I'm not meeting? Expectations of how I feel I should be as a meditator, or how how the practice should go? Reflect on these. And know that as long as you keep practicing, as long as you keep following the Noble Eightfold Path through the ups and the downs will turn into ups. And eventually the ups will turn into downs. This too shall pass. But the consistency is in trying to do as much of the practice as possible through the ups and the downs. Hello, Sin. Welcome. All right. Let's do some reading. Anger. One should give up anger, renounce pride, and overcome all fetters. Suffering never befalls him who clings not to mind and body and is detached. He who checks rising anger as a charioteer checks a rolling chariot, him I call a true charioteer. Others only hold the reins. Overcome the angry by non-anger, overcome the wicked by goodness, overcome the miser by generosity, overcome the liar by truth. Speak the truth, yield not to anger. When asked, give even if you have only a little. By these three means can one reach the presence of the Devas, the gods. Those sages who are inoffensive and ever restrained in body go to the deathless state, where having gone they grieve no more. Those who are ever vigilant, who discipline themselves day and night, and are ever intent upon nibbana, their defilements fade away. O Atula, indeed, this is an ancient practice, not one only of today. They blame those who remain silent. They blame those who speak too much, who speak much. They blame those who speak in moderation. There is none in the world who is not blamed. Some wise words. There never was, there never will be, nor is there now, a person who is wholly blamed or wholly praised. But the man whom the wise praise, after observing him day after day, is one of flawless character, wise and endowed with knowledge and virtue. Who can blame such a one as worthy as a coin of refined gold? Even the gods praise him. By Brahma too is he praised. Let a man guard himself against irritability in bodily action. Let him be controlled in deed, abandoning bodily misconduct. Let him practice good conduct in deed. Let a man guard himself against irritability in speech. Let him be controlled in speech, abandoning verbal misconduct. Let him practice good conduct in speech. Let a man guard himself against irritability in thought. Let him be controlled in mind, abandoning mental misconduct. Let him practice good conduct in thought. The wise are controlled in bodily action, controlled in speech, and controlled in thought. They are truly well controlled. All right, what about impurity? Like a withered leaf are you now. Death's messengers await you. You stand on the eve of your departure, yet you have made no provision for your journey. Make an island for yourself. Strive hard and become wise. Rid of impurities and cleansed of stain, you shall enter the celestial abode of the noble ones. Your life has come to an end now. You are setting forth into the presence of Yama, the king of death. No resting place is there for you on the way, yet you have made no provision for the journey. Make an island unto yourself. Strive hard and become wise, rid of impurities and cleansed of stain. You shall not come again to birth and decay. One by one, little by little, moment by moment, a wise man should remove his own impurities as a smith removes his dross from silver. Just as rust arising from iron eats away the base from which it arises, even so their own deeds led transgressors to state of woe. Non-repetition is the bane of scriptures. Neglect is the bane of a home. Slovenliness is the bane of personal appearance. And heedlessness is the bane of a guard. Unchastity is the taint of in a woman. Niggardliness is the taint in a giver. Taints indeed are evil things, both in this world and the next. A worse taint than these is ignorance, the worst of all the taints. Destroyed this one taint, and become taintless, O monks. Easy is life for the shameless one who is impudent as a crow, is backbiting and forward, arrogant and corrupt. Difficult is life for the modest one who always seeks purity, is detached and unassuming, clean in life and discerning. One who destroys life, utters lies, takes what is not given, goes to another man's wife, and is addicted to intoxicating drinks. Such a man digs up his own root, even in this world. Know this, O good man, evil things are difficult to control. Let not greed and wickedness drag you to protracted misery. People give according to their faith or regard. If one becomes discontented with the food and drink given by others, one does not attain meditative absorption, either by day or by night. But he who in this discontent is fully destroyed, uprooted and extinct, he attains absorption both by day and night. There is no fire like lust. There is no grip like hatred. There is no net like delusion. There is no river like craving. Easily seen is the fault of others, but one's own fault is difficult to see. Like chaff, one winnows another's faults, but hides one's own, even as a crafty fowler hides behind sham branches. He who seeks another's faults, who is ever censorious, his cankers grow. He is far from destruction of the cankers. There is no track in the sky, and no recluse outside the Buddha's dispensation. Mankind delights in worldliness, but the Buddhas are free from worldliness. There is no track in the sky and no recluse outside the Buddha's dispensation. There are no conditioned things that are eternal, and no instability in the Buddhas. All right, friends. So I think we are going to close out here. Let's do final business. So if you are interested in learning more about myself, the things that I do online, all the service, all the teachings and retreats and stuff, you can go to the website scrolling on the bottom, Maggasekha.org. Maggasekha means student of the path. That is my organization that myself and the community are building. So if you'd like to know anything, like to know when new events are happening and things like that, you can go to that website. And I always post when I do something new. Also, you can put your email in the top right and you will get an email every time I post. Same thing with YouTube. If you want to click subscribe, click the bell, you'll get an email every time I put out a new video. We also have an online community that is based in both study and practice in the early Buddhist texts, the suttas. We are not a general Buddhist community. We're not Mahayana, Vajrayana. In many ways, we're not even Theravada, although we probably are closer to Theravada than anything else. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, you can send an email to the email on the screen, maggasekha@gmail.com. Ask for an invite, and we can send you an invite so you can check out the community if you like. Next Monday, I will not be doing Dhammapalooza because I will be in California for attending a ordination, bhikkhuni ordination. So I won't be, no Dhammapalooza. And those of you on the Discord, none of the other things, normal activities, no insight timer that weekend, etc. And I think that's it. So why don't we do our sharing of merits? Steve, yeah, I can give you the link. That's the link to the sutta that we have for today. So let's share. Dukkha patta chani dukkha, bhaya patta chani bhaya, soka patta chani soka, hontu sabbe pipanio, etavata cha mehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya, akasatta cha bhummata deva naga mahiddhika punyang tang anumoditva charang rakkantu sasanang. May the suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit of ours that we've thus acquired, for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas, nagas, and yakas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, friends. Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy and at ease. Practice well and be well. Until we meet again, may you have a spiritually successful and peaceful 2 weeks. Until next time, friends.